We need to clear a path!
Hawk.
Say goodbye to Varric for me.
I was rooting for you! We were all rooting for you! How dare you!
Gamers, what's up? Welcome. This is the fourth installment of a series that we're kind of doing on this channel, documenting my journey through Dragon Age Inquisition as we approach the release date for Dragon Age the Veilguard. Yeah, this week's video took a little bit longer to make for a couple of reasons, some behind the scenes YouTube creator stuff, but also because this is the first time that I'm doing one of these little video diaries, not after a single play session, but after multiple ones. And I'll talk a little bit about that later, but first I want to start off the way we usually do in these and give you the lowdown on what's happening in the story so far. So last week we left off after getting to Skyhold. Varric pulled us aside. He said, "Hey buddy, there's someone you really got to meet," and he introduced us to Ethan Hawke, this dude who I guess was the protagonist of the last game. And he said, "Hey, I'm here to help you. It seems you have an issue, and I'm gonna lend you my help. I know a guy that you should meet." And that was pretty much it. I think that's what we had said in the last video. We covered that. It took us a while to get there to kind of follow up on that story this time, because in order to take that quest, we had to build up our power. I think up to like 20 or something, and we're at like 4. So we spent a lot of time doing a lot of open world quests and a lot of side quests. So before I get to the main story stuff, we'll talk a little bit about what we did on the side. Most of the companion quests, I'm still sort of like midway through. We haven't like fully finished any one of them, but we've got a few like really interesting sort of like cutscene quests that have been unlocked as we've gone through the story so far. One of the really fun ones was, now that I guess the secret's out, that Varric knew about Hawke, knew where he was. Sandra had a fiery little tip. She got a little upset. She started swinging. She was really mad at Varric for that. This is one of those quests where, and we talked about this a little bit last week when we talked about meeting Hawke and how, you know, as someone who hasn't played Dragon Age Origins or Dragon Age 2, whichever one he's the guy in, meeting him didn't really land as like this like really epic moment for me. I could kind of tell like, oh, this guy's important. I bet he's like a character who's been in the game before. Yeah, so having not played those games, meeting Hawke didn't land for me in the way that I bet it did for a lot of other people who were longtime fans of the series. So I won't comment too much about that, but I think also this scene that I'm talking about here with Sandra and Varric, where she's upset at him for hiding the fact that he knew where Hawke was this whole time, that's kind of like in that same vein, where I don't fully grasp the significance of this as a Dragon Age newcomer. I think a lot in this game, I guess I'll just talk about this now, there's a lot of things in this game that, as someone who's like basically a Dragon Age virgin, I can still appreciate it. It's not like, having not played those games, I'm completely lost. There's still like a lot to enjoy in the story, not as much in the gameplay, but it's still an enjoyable experience. But I think there are some parts of the game where it's like, okay, listen, you're mad at him because he didn't tell you this, but I don't understand why you didn't even know. I also kind of like, as an outsider, and again, because of how unfamiliar I am with the story, the world, I could be wrong, but it feels a little odd that Sandra is mad at Varric at all. Like, Hawke's alive, he's his own person, he's an adult, he's a big boy. If he wanted to come help, or if he knew that he was needed, why is it Varric's fault? Like, it should be on Hawke, right? To come be, you know, to come do some hero business. It's on him. Yeah, I didn't really understand it. Of course, Sandra is she's growing on me. She's one of my queens. So so instead of taking Varric's side, I kind of like played that approach down the middle. But especially thinking about it now after the fact, I definitely think it's really weird. I just think that the whole interaction was kind of weird. Moving on from that, we had a really cool cutscene with Solus where we chatted about some stuff in the Fade. He really likes the Fade. He's all about it. To be honest, I don't really fully understand what the Fade is, and I don't really Solus is like kind of low on the totem pole for me in terms of like how I rank and care about the companions. It just struck me right now. We should do a companion tier list after the game. After I'm done with the game, we should do a companion tier list. Okay. I'm shelving that idea. We'll do it later. Sorry. We go to the Fade with Solus. We're hanging out. We're having a nice chat. And guys, I finally did it. We finally made out with one of the companions. Put Solus on the board. Put a little check mark next to his name. Animate it. Make him dance gen. Make it really cool. We will get all of these characters, guys. Mark my words. We will do the completionist run on this dating sim. Wow, 1 down. 9 to go, 8, 7, I don't know how many there are. All right, memes aside, we'll finish the dating sim later. Mark my words. But let's get on to like the main story quest, right? So eventually I did raise my power enough that I could undertake Hawk's quest. So we rode off into the desert to meet Shroud. I think his name's Stroud, actually. I'm gonna call him Shroud because he's a pro gamer. So we go off into a weird little desert cave. We meet Shroud. And he's sort of like a disaffected, rogue, runaway, estranged warden. He's not presently with the wardens, but he basically tells us that the wardens are all hearing this thing called the calling, which is not 100% clear on how this works, but I guess the wardens are being manipulated to sort of join forces with Corey, with our main man, our big pal Corey. This is again, I'm gonna keep saying this over and over and over again. I'm sorry in advance, but I don't fully understand these factions. Like, who are the wardens? Are they different from the Templars? How are they different from the Templars? At some point, I think in the near future, we're gonna do some kind of video or something where I do a little learning. I think it's time to do a little learning about the world. But regardless, the wardens have been manipulated into joining forces with Corey. So we set off and we find out that there's a little lieutenant guy he's not Corey. He's like a really lame manservant for Corey, I guess. I think his name's like Arimond, something like that. And he has basically, he's part of Corey's efforts to manipulate the wardens. He's, I think, sacrificing some of them and using their mages to summon demons, which is pretty wild. We eventually, after learning about all of this, we gather our forces and we march on, I'm forgetting where it was, but we march on like a castle or a stronghold where this is all going on with the goal of basically undermining Corey's grip over the wardens, right? Every time we get to one of these story parts, this is where the game just like really shines. I think busting into the fortress and getting the cutscene with, you know, all of the Inquisition forces, it's like a really cool moment that really helps sort of solidify in your mind that Inquisition is a big thing. And it doesn't feel like that all the time, right? Because you spend so much time with just a small party of companions going around doing quests. It doesn't always feel like you're in charge of a massive force, but these moments really help you feel like that. And I think it's done really well. We head into the fortress. We confront the warden leader. I think, what's her name? Oh my god. There's so many names in this game. Carrel. I'm gonna call her Kara, okay? Kara. Like Superman's sister or cousin. I don't remember who Supergirl is. Kara, I think, right? We're just gonna have so many nicknames for all the stupid characters in this game. Jeez. Okay. Kara, Corey, Shroud. Add them to the list. We go in there. We plead our case. We wear our heart on our sleeve for Kara, and we convince her to turn on Arimond, who has summoned an archdemon, big old dragon thing to come in and wreck our shit. And big battles ensue. And there's one part during this conflict where we're on a bridge and it collapses and we fall into a rift and we go into the Fade, like physically into the Fade. And this sequence it's very reminiscent of the time travel sequence earlier in the game, in that it's like an instanced piece of content. And I'll talk about this, I think, a little bit more later in the video, but these moments where we go through like what feels more like a video game level, I think these are the best parts of this game. It's good. There's a lot of storytelling that gets to happen. There's a lot of, dialogue that happens while we're still playing, while we're still doing the game, that's reminiscent of like Naughty Dog style stuff. I really, really dig these parts of the game. Anyways, we go into the portal and we meet a spirit or a demon. It's not totally made clear to us what she is, but it's Justinia, the divine, the lady that everyone keeps talking about and making a big deal about, who we have no idea who she is. I love this character. She's just like such the perfect old lady, guys. I just love her. I love her. Honestly, she's right up there with trebuchets as being like my greatest love in this game, okay? She, as a spirit, guides us through as we unlock memories one after another, filling us in on what happened at the very beginning of the game when the Conclave got bombed, I guess, and how we got the anchor in our hand, right? It turns out everyone's been calling us Andraste's chosen. It turns out we're not. It turns out that our power was acquired completely by accident. I think we literally walked into the room while Corey was like draining Justinia's soul, and she just like knocked an orb out of his hand and we caught it, and that's how we got our power. It's a really cute story twist, because throughout the game up to this point we've had no idea, like, are we the chosen one? Are we a divinely selected person who is destined to do greatness on this world, or like what's happening? We have no idea. And what I've been doing, at least the way I've been playing the game, is I've really been kind of leaning into that, because it's kind of like the Ghostbusters rule, right? If someone asks you, are you a god? You don't say no. Yeah, so I've been telling everyone up to this point, basically, I am Andraste's chosen. I am holy. You better listen to me, motherfucker. I've been having a lot of fun with it, but I've kept that doubt in the back of my mind, because even though I'm leaning into it, I really have no idea, right? Like, the game doesn't show you in the beginning what happens, and it's really just like left as a mystery this whole time. And I think this was a really good time for them to fill in the gap and let you know this is what happened. This is like why events have unfolded the way they've unfolded, and it's done in a really cute way. And your main character has like a little bit of a moment after learning everything, where there's like almost like a moment of doubt where they feel like, oh, I'm not special, I'm not the chosen one. And Justinia has like such a great line, and I wish I could remember it exactly.
If it was, then neither the Maker nor Andraste were in any way involved in this.
If you believe in the Maker, then you believe he made this world and everything in it, including your accident. And if you do not, then nothing has changed.
It's just a really cute moment of someone giving you genuinely like sage wisdom. It's really cute. I think it's just yeah, I just love it. I love everything about this part of the game. After that, we eventually do make our way out of the Fade. We kill this huge demon thing, and we have to leave either Hawk or Shroud behind. Now, I don't know if this is like gonna be a big deal, or I don't know if someone's gonna be really upset with me for what I chose here. I don't have a huge attachment to Hawk. Every time I see him, I think, well, I wouldn't have made my character look like that. So I between him and Shroud, I thought I'm gonna go ahead and leave Hawk behind.
With you. I trusted you.
Trust me now, please.
Look out there! Guys like you not be happy.
And I think he made a really good point too, when they were kind of arguing over like who's gonna stay behind and fight the demons so that everyone can escape. Hawk says, you need to go, Shroud, because you need to help the Wardens rebuild. And that's what happened, right? So we leave Hawk behind, it sucks, but we get out of the Fade, and once we do, we are given a choice, right? Do we want to send the Wardens away, make them leave, or do we want to make them stay and work to fix their mistake? And that's what I chose. And I'm not sure, there were some people in my party really didn't like that I did that. They saw that as me giving them a second chance, and I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see how it plays out. Again, this is one of those things where, unfortunately, because I don't have that much background information on who the Wardens are, I'm just looking at them as like, these are some dudes who have swords and magic, and we should just have them fight with us. Why not? Hey guys, real quick aside here, I didn't know when I was playing the game, and I didn't know when I was recording the video diary after, but Stroud, or Shroud as I call him, is actually a stand-in for the protagonist from the first game. So, Hawk is the protagonist from the second game, Shroud is from the second game, or the first game, blah, blah, blah. And so potentially in this scene, you can have both of your previous protagonists backing you up in the Fade, and then the game forces you to choose who lives and who dies. And when I found that out, I was just like, mind blown. That's crazy. That's such a bold decision on their part. I love it. All right, back to the video. Anyways, that's kind of where we left it. We did return to Skyhold after that. We delivered a message to Leilani from Justinia that seemed heartfelt, but again, I'm not familiar with the history of these characters. But it was a cute ending, and I think that was a good place to put a bow on this leg of the story. All right, this video is getting a little bit long. Before I spend the rest of my day just doing this little video diary, let's get to the gameplay stuff. My views on the gameplay have been kind of going back and forth throughout my playthrough. I'll just admit it right off the bat. I am not the biggest fan of the gameplay. Combat, I think, leaves a little something to be desired in this game, but we can expand on that later, I think, in another video. One thing I will say is, because I spent so much time for this part of my journey doing like open world quest stuff, the way that this game has designed its map and the way that it sort of directs you around the open world has become probably one of the most frustrating things I've dealt with in the past week. I've not been having a good time with it. The game has chosen to do that thing where the map is not filled in. You have to actually like travel to different areas to fill in the map, which is fine in theory, but it makes exploration more challenging, and it makes exploration a bigger part of the game. But exploration in this game, I'm gonna be honest, it's not that fun. And it's really frustrating to spend a lot of time trying to go from, down here on the map, and you're trying to go up here, and I can't go straight because there's mountains, so I'm gonna try to go around this way, but oh no, there's a little mountain range or a little wall, and I can't go here to my dot, so I have to come all the way back down around, and I have to go all the way up, and now I finally made it, right? It's happened so many times. It's become so frustrating, and it really sucks because it just gets in the way of the game doing what it does best, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to like belabor this point too much longer, so we'll just move on. But yeah, I'll say not a big fan of the open world. And to be fair, I think this game came out like 10 years ago. I think it came out like at the height of 10 years ago was in between Skyrim and Breath of the Wild. Open worlds were the thing to do. So I understand why they probably wanted to do the game that way, but I just don't think it serves this game very well. I think, in Mass Effect 2, when you want to undertake a mission, you're on your ship in Normandy, you go to your little space map, you say, oh, I want to take on this mission. It's on this planet. Let's go to this planet. Okay, let's land and just do the mission. It's just like a linear level from a video game. I think, and there are some of those like linear levels in this game, and again, that's where this game is at its best, I think, personally. I've been trying to avoid like too many Veilguard spoilers, but I have heard, I did see one video with some gaming journalists talking about how they were concerned personally that Veilguard wouldn't have that open world stuff. And what they said was, Veilguard seems like it's mostly done away with a lot of the open world stuff, but the levels in the game are very explorable. So they were very happy, and I think, to me, that sounds like the best of both worlds. Like, you do want levels that are explorable. You don't want to just be like rushing through, a hallway simulator. But I don't think that the open worlds, or at least the way that the team has made it in this game, it's just not. I just don't think it's good. So obviously, I'm not a big fan of the open world system they've used, but I am a really big fan of the companion system so far. I really like that you have to think carefully about who you're going to bring along with you when you do things, because sometimes your character will even say it, right? You'll go do like a mission for Blackwall, and then after you finish this objective, your character will say, oh, I think Blackwall would have liked to have been here for this. and it makes you feel like, oh, I screwed up. I didn't have my dude here with me. The game's good though. It's smart, right? You'll go back to Skyhold and you'll talk to Black Wall, and you'll tell him, and he'll have like the updated dialogue option with like a tiny little cutscene, and it's really good. So it reminds you, it puts it in your brain. Okay, next time I'm gonna go do an objective for so-and-so's quest, bring so-and-so with me. And yeah, I love the companion system. I love the writing in this game. I think one thing that's like really jumped out at me throughout my playthrough is the dialogue that happens between characters during gameplay, you know, while you're just roaming around in the world, and the way they talk to each other. It really makes their relationships feel like real, like fleshed out and believable. It's just the writing in this game, I think, is just really, really, really good. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of it. Anyways, guys, that's where I am this week. Next week, I don't know too much. I'm trying to go through this game with as few spoilers as possible. But I think next week's story mission, is a little bit more political, a little bit more about subterfuge, just from some of the things that we've talked about. I believe we're on our way to meet the Empress and save her from something. Find out with me next week, okay? Peace out. Love you guys. Bye.